What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of our Trndsttrs podcast series. Today, I'm joined by Emerson Hodes, who I'm not going to tell you exactly what he does just yet. Emerson, rather than telling us what you do and going into that rabbit hole that all podcasts do, we're going to do things differently.
Okay.
Tell me, what is the impact of what you do?
Okay. So I'm a sales manager at Chief of Staff Kansas City, and I specialize in recruiting and finding my clients candidates for their jobs. So the impact that I make is really, it's twofold. So for candidates and clients. For candidates, obviously, I make an impact helping them find new opportunities, whether I'm taking them from, unemployment to employment or, just being. A lot of people get stuck at their jobs and they don't really know how to go about the job search, in this digital age on their own because, through technology and everything, it's really hard to stand out if you don't have someone vouching for you.
And is that changing a lot in the market?
Yeah.
How people acquire new jobs, do the job outreach. I'm curious to hear, obviously you're not the oldest or most experienced in recruiting staff, right?
Yeah.
But what have you seen thus far? What's changing most, particularly in the industry with recruiting? Is it all digital now, or what does that look like?
So honestly, it started with Career Builder and Monster and all those job sites that are just essentially just resume dumps. But now ZipRecruiter, Indeed, all those new sites give so many more job postings to companies, and it just literally floods them with candidates. And so, now that everyone's on social media, everyone's comfortable with computers, there's just, if I post a job, I'll probably get, 100 different applications. And so if I'm a small business, right, it's hard for me to sit there and go through all those applications and find the, the most relevant, the best candidates out of pulling a needle out of a haystack. So where we make an impact with our client base, which is usually small to medium-sized businesses, probably $2 to $100 million companies, it's really just saving them time more than anything. Because as a small business, that's what's most important to you.
Time is money.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you don't have the ability to hire your own recruiter or your own HR team that can sit there and sort through all these applications, go through these extensive interviews, know the right questions to ask, that's really where we come in and help make a difference. We go out and recruit all of our own candidates. A lot of times, companies will even send us those job applications they're getting on their own that they can't sort through. So we really just help, save time. We meet all of our candidates face to face. We have an hour-long conversation with them, not only just talking about, the job that they want, but also, what their preferences are for a potential employer. Because, as much as it is, finding a job, it's also finding a career, finding a home, and that's even more important, especially in what I do, more HR administrative focus, where the soft skills and personality really comes out more than anything. Accounting is a little bit different, but again, one accountant can go into one job and do the exact same thing, but the culture for two different companies is completely different. So we really do take a deep dive. Our process is really thorough. So, that's really where we make an impact with our clients as well as our candidates, is making sure we're finding the right match for them rather than just giving them jobs.
Because it's got to be a right fit from both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
I know from my experience when I was a co-founder with an agency, we ballooned up to 11 people on staff, a lot of which our hiring process in the early days, which we learned was homies.
Yeah.
We call it the homie hire.
Yeah.
So it was my buddy, whatever, knows how to do this. Let's hire him. Or, a brother or whatever, of which we quickly learned doesn't work.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So now obviously we've learned our lessons. Now we don't necessarily follow the homie hire strategy, but I can tell you, I think the biggest thing for us has been finding the right fit from both sides. It's not only is this person the right fit for our role, but is our agency the right fit for them?
Exactly.
And us being a small startup agency, you're going to work more than 40 hours a week. Likely you're going to be thrown in and wear multiple hats. So for a lot of people, that's not the right fit. And it sucks for me to say no or to not pursue that. But I know for a fact it's not going to last and work right. And I think with today's particularly small businesses, so much of growth we think is factored around market timing and the overall economy and this marketing channel and this growth channel and so on, when in reality, it seems to be that deploying the right people to those matters significantly more.
No, yeah,
So
definitely.
the companies with the best team members typically, it's like it's like professional sports, right? Whoever has the most talented
Right.
team is likely going to beat everyone else.
Right.
That's why the Chiefs are so good right now.
Right.
It's,
And why is Nick Saban consistently good in college football? It's because he's good at recruiting. He's good at finding that talent and bringing them on the team and coaching them up. Because you can have all the talent in the world, if you can't coach them up, if you can't manage them properly, if they get super stuck on where they are, if they're not, being maximized to their, greatest potential, they're going to get, pissed off, and they're going to want to leave and go somewhere else where they, can have their potential and strengths maximized. So, that's something I'm super passionate about is when, candidates come into my office and sit down and say, I really like doing this, but I'm just, I'm stuck. Like, I don't have any more room for growth at my current company, or, I wish I could be doing this. Like, this is what I'm really good at, but I'm not really, providing the opportunity to do that. And it's like sitting down and understanding what really makes someone, what really drives someone, and then being able to find them an opportunity where they're just, I guess, their whole skill set is used. That's really what, gets me out of bed every morning. And when I get home at night and I go to sleep, I'm happy with my day's work because that's the impact I make.
So you mentioned how that impact and that why. Something else you do is you spearhead, I don't even know, networking is not the right terminology at all, but you spearhead a local group that meets consistently. I'd love to hear not necessarily how that process came to fruition, but what does that look like now, and what's your vision for that in the future?
Yeah. So the group's called the Loop KC, and really the reason I came up with it and through one of my mentors, Scott Havens, who's been an extremely helpful person in my life, just mentor wise, and then also helping me get the group off the ground. He runs a group called Taco and KC, and it's kind of a spin off of that. But really, what we want to focus on is, I guess, creating relationships first and foremost, and these are friendships more than business connections at the beginning, because the group itself is 22 to 28-year-olds right now, fresh out of college, into I guess everyone born in the 90s essentially is the age group, and
99.
There you go.
I don't know if that counts.
So what we realize is we go to a lot of networking events, we build these relationships, but a lot of times when I was networking early on, I was the youngest person in the room. And I was meeting a lot of cool people where I was going to one-on-one coffees with business leaders, and I was getting a ton of value out of it, but I wasn't really able to find like a group in Kansas City or specific events like by young people for young people. It was always either an organization throwing a millennial networking event, or a company throwing like a specific one for young people.
And I think we can identify with that being our value prop as an agent, right?
Yeah, exactly.
By young people for young people. I love the mission. And
so the goal is to create friendships first and foremost that are the foundation for future business, right? And so we realize that being a little bit younger right now, we don't have all the say, or I guess the power to make decisions at our businesses, but we know that we're trying to identify future business leaders. So in the next, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, we will be in those spots, right? And so who are you going to do business with? The people you've known and trusted for years, right? So our goal is just to get everyone in a room. Obviously we'll have, speakers and events where, we're, learning from very successful people, but a lot of these are just happy hours, social events where we're just, getting together, talking shop essentially. When I first moved back here and I started, networking with people, I love my high school friends to death. I love, my group of friends, but, I would, try to talk about, my job and stuff, and they just weren't really having it as much. And, obviously they, love their jobs and everything, but I wanted to find people that were super professionally driven and, people that are going to make a big difference here in Kansas City. And so it was more just to find those like-minded people that, kind of get that, and they're trendsetters, if you will, and get them all in a room and just, again, provide a platform for people to kind of, do what they want and get what they want out of the group. So
I think that was the quickest thing I learned coming out of, when I decided to drop out and go full-time in the business, was surrounding myself with the right people. If you look at your sphere of influence and who you're listening to and advising, I kind of have like my mentors over here, my large level influences and role models per se at a national level. and then even like clients I was working with, and then I also have like, family, friends, so on. It's like love you, but I'm trying to go in a different direction. Like
Right.
I'm trying to do this, and when you kind of, I think being a younger individual, especially when you don't have it all figured out, we hear those spheres of influence and we let it dictate our decisions.
Yeah.
When in reality, I found what I found ironic is like, why should I listen to someone else giving me advice on something if I don't want to do what they're doing? Like I'm hearing from a 45-year-old accountant. Awesome. Like great living. I'm sure they have a great family and this, that, and the other, but they're advising me like, well, don't drop out, like get your degree and do this, this, and this. And I'm like, even if that's right, why should I listen to that advice?
Right.
Like, I'll listen to LeBron about how to play basketball. I'm not going to listen to LeBron about how to play tennis.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's a different game. So
Yeah.
when I started changing that approach, but I love that you've created that. It's all about that influence, like who is in your circle. What I find so interesting when you go look at like some of the most successful entrepreneurs, and then you look at what I find so interesting is like how Elon Musk, like if you look at the founding team of PayPal, or the first 10 employees, they're all studs now. Like one went on and found Yelp, the other Peter Thiel, the other like Elon Musk. Like you look at that squad and it's like, could you imagine like they would just go out on Friday nights and have a good time after probably working like 20 hours. But you get the point. So it's like who you associate with matters so much because it's not always consciously. You can always like say no to those touches, but subconsciously it's going to eat at you.
Yeah, I mean, it's you want to again surround yourself by people that are going to push you and drive you, right? And so because the reason I love this group is that even though we're so young, like a 23-year-old will be able to talk to a 27-year-old, which you don't think is that big of an age difference, but in terms of your early career, that's a huge difference, right? Yeah. And so younger people are able to talk and get advice from people that are still, they're comfortable with. They may not have all this experience networking, talking to these, 50-year-old business leaders, but, you can talk to someone in a social setting, grabbing a beer and saying like, hey, how do you approach this problem in your industry, right? And so it's just, again, just that I guess it's a platform for people to just get together and think. And that's what's really cool about it. And like moving forward, I really want to, expand the group rather than it just being a gathering type, networking group where we can, take it one step further, start, allowing people to, develop their own personal brands through, I guess some content that we'll start putting out here in the future. Allowing people to, I guess get people involved in nonprofits and charity events and start giving back to the community. And then, one thing I, really, wanted to do is create like a panel of just thought leaders within the loop to then go give back to the Kansas City community. So, a lot of times in what I do, I get approached by my clients talking about like, how do I hire, manage, attract, retain young talent? Because that's, in such a short labor market right now, retention is the biggest thing with companies.
Especially with younger talent as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, they have options, they're skilled, and they're entrepreneurial, right? Like the amount of kids I know that also have side hustles is scary. Because I just fear, in myself, maybe you guys have side hustles? You guys have your cold brew company? You guys can do that if you want. Regardless, my fear is like I'm going to employ people and they're going to spend half their day getting what they need to get done and half their day getting their side hustle done. Not because I fear that their side hustle is going to take off and do something against us. More so, it's like if you're working with us, I want to make sure that this vision works for you. And so I think that's what's so interesting for employers now is today's kids, like they're not just doing the 9 to 5. They're doing the 9 to 3, and then they spend 2 hours on LinkedIn building up their side hustle consulting business, and then they build the rest at night, and then they're waiting for that salary to get up from that to then leave fully. So it's just like it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to like what we were talking about and maximizing people's strengths is like if you're not like fully engaged at work, if you're not consistently being challenged and have managerial support that pushes you to grow in your career, you're gonna look for that on your own, right? You're gonna talk to people within the loop and maybe get involved in something else outside of it, or you're gonna find that avenue one way or another. And so like going back to the point about the panel is like I want to get people together to go talk to companies like where it's essentially just a Q&A of like 5 people that are in their 20s right now going going and talking to executive teams about, exactly what we were just talking about. How do we see certain issues within a company? Like what do, right now with Gen Z employees, flexible work schedules is the number one thing. Like in 2020, I was just reading an article about, 2020 trends, and that was a huge one. Is now that Gen Z and millennials are starting to dominate the workforce, what do we see shifting moving forward? And that again was the number one thing about it. So, again, and it's I guess the group in and of itself is just thought leadership right now, first and foremost within our age group, and I feel like you do a great job of that with Gen Z.
I try to. I try to just spam the hell out of LinkedIn. Like that's what I always hear from people is like, dude, you have that LinkedIn algorithm in a chokehold. Like you can't go on there without being blasted by your content. Which, when you push out like 5 pieces a day, it helps. But yeah, I mean that's my goal. Is like, one day. It's not today too. That's what's so interesting. I get that question a lot. Like, why do you confine yourself just to Gen Z? Like, it's not sexy yet. Headlines are starting to come out a little bit more, but brands investing into Gen Z is like very minimal. But what I see is 10 years from now or 5 years from now, when Gen Z is like the next, millennials have been the most research generation ever. Yeah. Same thing's going to happen with Gen Z because so many brands lost with the millennial wave. They're going to be fearful.
Millennials killed everything.
And when that, exactly, right? It's like, no, you killed yourself. Like, did you read? Like, look at that. So, same thing's going to happen with Gen Z, and I will have at that point so much brand equity towards it that we'll be the default. And that's the vision, at least. So that's me spilling the deets of what we're trying to do. Now I want to go into our final segment real quick, which is like spilling the deets. So I'm going to ask you to finish the sentence. It doesn't need to be specific. It could be a run-on sentence. I don't know grammar. What is the number one strategy that you're adding to your arsenal in 2020?
I might need to figure out this for a second.
Or what is one?
Strategy and adding to my arsenal. So you mean like professionally or just?
I think a combination of the two. And I mean, personal branding might be in that a little bit. I see a lot of people adding on that.
Well, to me, it's more like, again, with the Loop group, play on words, but what I really want to do is maximize other people's potential. And that's, I don't know if that makes sense, but what I want to do is I guess, use my ability with this platform to, I guess, get the most out of people that, so for community service, for example, a lot of people want to get involved, but they don't really know how to go about it. Specifically, they don't know the right groups or who to talk to get involved with that. So I want to open up the Loop platform for people to be able to, recruit other people to do things. Or I guess with some of these other things I've been talking about with creating content specifically, I've already kind of started with the networking stuff, with my own personal brand, with my own content, doing stuff like that. But I want to bring other people with me.
You want to make it frictionless for others.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to, help other people realize that, they can do it too. And it's not really that hard. There's not too many barriers to entry to, get involved or make your own content or start your own personal brand and whatnot. And so I guess that's what I'm trying to focus on.
That's huge. Yeah. So I think the final question, what are you most looking forward to, like, let's say a year from now? Like, what will happen? What will change? And which you'll be looking forward to?
I honestly think with my company specifically, we just brought on a new president, Casey Wright, in June, and I've just seen a complete culture shift in what we're about. So we've always been a really, really solid administrative company. And now that we have Casey on, our accounting and finance as his background, we just brought Lisa on to run our HR team. And so we're really just, I guess, establishing verticals so we can be very specialized in what we do. And so what I want to, a year from now, through all the marketing that we've been doing and the branding that we've been doing and just the quality of work that we've been providing to companies around Kansas City, I'm really looking forward to us growing more than we have. Like, we just hit our revenue goal that we set for 2020, like this month in 2019. So we've grown at a good pace.
Accelerate that growth.
Yeah. And so we're about to hit the ground running in 2020 and start scaling. So I'm looking forward to the growth within the company internally, to becoming Kansas City's go-to firm for accounting, finance, administrative, and HR hires. And I just want to get involved more operationally within the company as well, helping yeah, I'm just looking forward to the future of the company and helping it grow.
Cool. Well, I appreciate having you on.
Yeah.
We can find you on LinkedIn, correct? Is that going to be the best platform for you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm on LinkedIn, and then you can follow our Chief of Staff page as well. We post most of our content there. We have a recruiter roundup on Fridays, and then Chiefs of Staff on Mondays. Tune into those.
The Chiefs of Staff is awesome. Yes.
Very
awesome.
very entertainment focused content, not as value based, but
yes.
we'll get there.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it.